Welcome to the Unquit Forever Stories, where you'll hear stories of not giving up from around the world. Vivek Bahl is a social media genius who has been running his own social media marketing agency since 2011. Before this, he was the creative director at Shell and Dentsu and also worked in Grey, besides being in the brand team at Times of India and the head of marketing at PVR Cinemas. He launched India's first talent-based social network in the fields of modeling, fashion photography, and Bollywood dancing. Welcome, Vivek. This is the first of the Unquit Forever stories. And I wanted to start with you, Vivek, because of personal reasons. To me, sometimes life brings two people on a path. We have to see what the path is, and then we have to build on the path. I got to know Vivek after the movie I Want to Talk came out, and his review was one of those reviews that really stood out. It right away made me realize I want to know more about this person because I could learn. And in the process of me putting a little effort to learn and Vivek being kind enough to give me time, I realized there's a genius behind that in the world of social media. And Vivek became my partner in spreading Unquit Forever stories. Partnering is very important because what Vivek has taught me, partnering happens between equals. Vivek is an equal owner in the journey, which means from time to time he will whoosh me by saying that story does not work. That story has to be repositioned. And I respect him. And that's the reason I really feel I'm fortunate, Vivek, to start this journey with you. Welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Vivek, I want to start by celebrating you in your journey, professional, personal. What is one moment, if you just look back, a big success that you're comfortable sharing? I know there are a lot of, I'm not asking you to choose your number one success, something that jumps up that you want to share.
Right. So I think it's primarily when after I worked in different organizations, and that was both advertising agency, the marketing side, and the corporate side within marketing. So what really stood out for me was when I chose to start my own company. This was in 2010 when social media was just kind of bubbling all over and in India as well. And brands were trying to find a foothold on social media and trying to see how it works for them. It was completely new territory at that moment in time. So that's when I thought, this is an interesting moment. And I just went with the flow of a new medium, new learnings, a new way of communicating. And to me, that always gives me a sense of pride that, I just took that chance at that moment.
So, I want to push you a little bit. Things were going great. Corporate world, you had already established yourself, which means you had already planted the tree. It is time to harvest. What doubts, if any, did you have, hesitations, as you totally chose to go on a new path of doing something on your own instead of working for these mega brands that you were adding a lot of value to?
See, actually, honestly, there were no hesitations. There were nothing holding me back because there was a kind of an inner voice which was guiding me, and it's happened in the past also. When I moved into copywriting for the very first time, I was the oldest trainee copywriter at 29. I never looked upon that as a hurdle or uh, how will I be considered or will I be able to match up with the enthusiasm of a 21-year-old and so on and so forth. So that never held me back. And the same thing happened when I chose to step out from the corporate world, from a clearly defined career path. Again, there was an inner voice which told me, like, this is a step you can take and you will do well. So, it was as simple as that in retrospect.
Most of us have an inner voice that doubts us, that holds us back. How did you develop that inner voice, which is that cheerleader that pushes you, that moves you forward, and takes fear totally out of the equation?
Actually, it's always been there, as far as I can remember. So it's not something I harnessed, but it's something I the more I ventured out of a so-called comfort zone, the more I believed it. Starting with that whole copywriting stint of moving into a completely new field, again, no prior experience in copywriting, started that, and there was a certain inner belief that I will do well. And then get into social media marketing, completely new field. So again, so it was, I don't think I ever feared it or had fear. It was just a belief which became stronger as the years went.
So it's the voice that all of us have. All we need to do is listen to it, trust it, believe it, and let it rise instead of drowning it.
Yeah, I would say the same from from my
So now let's look at one of the biggest challenges you faced when quitting could be an option. What was the challenge and how did you navigate through that?
See, when I started working on my own, there were almost daily challenges. There were no clients. There was no format of what to do on social media, how to communicate. So the idea was just went one step at a time, reached out to people in the corporate world who had known me, and they also took that step of saying, okay, test the waters for us. There were brands at that time. No brand had actually ventured into social media, so I had the good fortune of launching Domino's Pizza in India on social. Then there were other brands like Bosch and Lomb, which is primarily contact lenses. Then there's OLX, which became huge as the years went by. But my association started when they had just launched in India. And then there's Kurkure, there's Fiamma de Wills, there's Cadbury chocolates. Again, they had multiple brands in Cadbury chocolates. Again, they ventured into social media, with my assistance. So it was great after I sort of just started just going in deep and not really thought of it not working, never crossing my mind.
Wow. So you are sitting here in your office, no clients, but this amazing voice and a belief that I'm on a path where once I build, there's a value big enough that they will come. Amazing. Because for me, when I started consulting, I realized what zero looks like. Like zero is this beautiful number. Any direction you look at, you cannot flip a zero. Zero is always a zero. Like 6 and 9 can be changed. 7 can look like an 8. Like everything can be changed. But
Yeah,
zero is a perfect number. And that's what I always used to stare at.
right.
And I also always used to tell the best part about zero also is everything is upside. Once you have a zero, that means anything you get is more than zero. So to me, that was again a wow thing for me.
Yeah,
And
that's
thanks
tough.
for taking me back to that day as you start looking at. So going forward, we all know life's uncertainties are guaranteed. Life is never the same, and that's the fun part about life. So tomorrow, when you face a challenge, so how do you face challenges? Like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Second thing that as you look at adversity, uncertainty, so you can navigate through and listen to that inner Vivek voice.
See, I think it comes down to also not taking myself too seriously. Like I watch, like you mentioned, the review which I made of for your film, and I watch a lot of movies, and just out of passion, I review them. Write my what how I feel about a movie. So keeping that in mind, the kind of movies I watch, they could range from a historical drama in the 1800s. It could go into a futuristic drama like, say, Dune, the Dune series. What I take from them, besides, of course, the entertainment value and all of that, is the fact that what happened in 1800 to that individual happened and it's over. Yes, some of them were great leaders, etc. And what they did then has impacted us as humanity now. But on a day to day basis, what that individual did then is not really affecting me. So even now, what I'm going through, whether it's a sudden adversary or a great fortune, that's just happening to me, at this moment in time. If whatever happens tomorrow and to the next generation of 50 years from now, you know, what is happening to me now is not, it's not going to affect that. So I see it from that perspective. I hope I've answered your question. The idea is not to overthink. The idea is not to, you know, make yourself the be all and end all of a given crisis or a fortune. You take everything knowing that it could change either way. But at this moment in time, if there's a voice or there's a path which you feel is for you, go it.
Yeah. As you're talking about it, it takes me back to, I have no clue who, but some amazing sports commentator talked about when you watch cricket or play cricket, what happens on this ball is the only thing that matters. What happened in the last ball, yeah, it impacts the score long term and changes the game. But it really is mutually exclusive. Like all you're doing is live in this moment. You and I are having a conversation. And one time I had asked one of the top golfers, what's the difference between a day you are at your best, you're at a zone? And his answer was, he didn't even think. He told me, that's the day when I know the only one thing to focus on 100% at this instant and whoosh everything out.
Yeah.
And I could immediately relate to, like, when I try to even eat and talk at the same time, I choke. I can't do two things. So I really think that power of understanding that this moment comes only once, build on it, appreciate the heck out of it, because we would never get a chance to enjoy this again. So that's very powerful.
Absolutely.
So finally, I just want to make it personal. Thank you for being a partner in this Unquit Forever stories and journey. What excites you about this journey?
Our journey together.
Yes.
First of all, like from the moment I saw the film, and like I mentioned in my review I wrote, what stood out for me was your presence at the end, where you appeared right at the end, and that energy which you brought onto the screen. And like, to me, that was everything. And that, that uh, here's a person who's been through what he has been through, and but the energy at the end just makes, it's like what you just talked about, it's living in the moment. So I think you epitomize that. And this whole thing of what we discussed, and that you have the book which is based on Unquit, and now we're talking about being unquitters forever. So the whole idea of, that the fact that you epitomize it, and the fact that that enthusiasm I thought was infectious, and that's what drew me in. And whatever interactions I've had with you, and now that you've also launched your channel as Unquit Forever, to me that encapsulates everything which I personally believed it, but I can just see it in you, and kind of, I'm amazed on a regular basis by it. So thank you.
Thank you. And I also don't want you to underestimate your power. You cannot clap with one hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Takes two. And that's the part where the journey is about a we journey. Clint, Kitsana, no idea is ever complete till I can share the ideas with them. Like we meet at 9 a.m. Houston time every morning. At 8:50, I'm raring to go, but I pause to appreciate the fact I have them in my life and in my team to celebrate with every day. And that's the part where I really think that, that whole journey is a together journey. It's a we journey. Like, so much about my story and the movie, everything else, that I quit, but we did not quit. And that's the core of our journey that is there, is once we build a community, I really think it will make us stronger. So again, thank you, Vivek, for taking time. Thank you for being part of the journey, and looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Unquit Forever Stories. If you have a story in your life that you want to share, a story of unquit, or in somebody's life, please share the story with me. In the meantime, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.